They're not too bad. Well, they're bad. Hey guys, welcome back on the iPhone today. I'm on the 2005 Dodge Durango. I haven't been driving it the 5.5 hours back and forth to Virginia because last time I was in Virginia, it started to die on me. When I came to a stop, especially at low speeds, it would die and then go into limp mode. So on the drive home on the highway, did fine, except for right as I got close to, I was about 30 minutes from home, and I did it one time. So over 5.5 hours, it only did it once. I do like this thing because it just drives so much better on the highway. That Jeep, the Jeep is just gutless, and it's a pain for the highway. This thing just floats down the highway 80 some miles an hour. But when the limp mode comes on and the check engine light comes on, I get a light for a crankshaft sensor. Problem with the crankshaft sensor, I guess it's not such a problem, but the crankshaft sensor is located there behind the starter. So it's not necessarily behind the starter, but the bolt, I don't know if you can see the bolt, but the bolt is. So the bolt is back there behind the starter. So I got to pull the starter. The cool thing about this Durango, and in the past we had problems, I think it was just related to the battery, but since it seems okay, I have this hard disconnect switch. So all I have to do is hit the button and it's turned off. So now I have no power to the vehicle and I can work on the starter without arcing anything. So let's pull the starter. I just got these handful of tools. Hopefully I can get it done with these. I might need a mini screwdriver for that stupid red lock, but I got some gloves. I don't know why I brought the whole box over here, but the box is over here. So I've got I know it's 10 millimeter for the bolt on the sensor, and then 15 millimeter was what I think the starter bolts are. But I brought a 13 as well. I got the Hyper Tough, awesome cheap Walmart ratchet, and then my snap-on ratchet that probably cost 4 or 5 times what this one did. So yeah, let me grab a little mini screwdriver, roll under there, and pull this starter out. Well, here's the starter. One bolt faces the front of the vehicle. The other bolt faces me. That one's easier to take out. That one's a little harder. Luckily I have the bent angle ratchet. That's what I'll have to do. It wasn't long ago that I actually replaced the starter, I think. So it is a 15 millimeter. So I will use my snap-on, and oh man, there's no room down here. I only jacked it up a little bit so I don't have to worry about, with this. What can you see? Yeah, this. It's hard to hold this camera and do this at the same time, but yeah, this is all I'm going to do here is use the ratchet like this and take this bolt off. Pretty simple. And then I'll break the top one free and use the ratchet, because I can use the ratchet on the top one, but this one is going to go slow like this. And then once it's dropped down, I'll show you the crankshaft sensor. All right, there's the crank sensor. I got the bolt out. I actually just used this is what, 12 or 14 inches of extension on there, so I just used a little impact. It's so much easier to just get it from here. So you just got to jack it up just a little bit. So now I got to get in there with some pliers or something and wiggle jiggle twist that free. Let me show you the pliers that I'm going to use. I think you may not have a pair of these pliers at home, but some of us do. So these are Mac tools. So yeah, get in there and twist and pull. Hopefully maybe I'll put a little Sil Glide lubricant or something on this O-ring before I put the new one back in. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Reach in there, pull that. I'm going to have to twist. If it's a pain, I'll let you know how big of a pain it is. But then I think I'm going to get some space and then pull the plug off once it's away from the vehicle. So let's do that. All right, the new one's in. It wasn't too bad. I mean, it was an adventure, but it didn't take me very long. There's just, from the bottom, you can only get one hand in there. There's no other way to get it, 2 hands. So I had to lay on my back, and one hand had to come up this way and through here, and the other hand from the bottom. So you can do it. Maybe if you pulled this whole fender guard out, it'd be easier, but I didn't want to do that. And take the tire off. You could get a little more access, but didn't have to do that. Just like I said, laying on my back, one hand here, one hand up where the starter access hole was. And hey, can we just talk about, do I have some other techs that want to go in on a class action lawsuit against Chrysler and their stupid red clips? Maybe not, but that would be handy. It was just this whole thing, and it was pretty brittle, all of it, but it was a kind of a pain to get with the way I would barely reach in there to get that clip. But the rest of the clip I think is broken anyway, so it may have been messed with before. I've already wiped it off. Yeah, the old one looks like it may have been replaced a while back, so who knows. It's probably not going to fix this problem on this stupid old Dodge. I replaced the crankshaft about 5 years ago, or crankshaft, the torque converter about 5 years ago, and I think it might be going out again. So who knows? But yeah, I'll put the starter back in, and then we'll do the spark plug wires, because why not? So let's take off the spark plug wires. I'll maybe pull a plug just to check. It's been a while since I've tuned this thing up, but it's not too difficult. Just pull this breather hose out of the way. I've already loosened up, so it's really these hose clamps, and then these 10mm 2 bolts here for this air cleaner. And then I'm going to pop this. Let's see if I can do this with one hand here. Yeah, not too bad. You know, I said not too bad. So that wouldn't have been as bad if this was still bolted down. So I could have done it with one hand. But yeah, this thing does have a little bit of a blow by. So yes, it definitely needs to be rebuilt. But take this one off, and this guy pulls out of here. And then here are our plug wires. This whole set comes in this tray. Clips down here, so it pops up pretty easy. Back in the day, I bought these Napa Belden wires. These were some amazing, really, really good wires. Finally time to replace them. And one of the things is when you get this, it's hard to see, the white, I just hate this white, because sometimes this white chalkiness could mean that the spark is jumping. So when they start to get white and chalky, I'll just go ahead and replace them sometimes. I mean, it's been years, so it's time, but these Belden wires are good wires. So all right, I'll try to keep track of which one's which, and then pop these out of here. What I was surprised was this is the box from O'Reilly's, and these O'Reilly's, oh look, they're numbered and everything. So they come numbered. We've got the boots for, because this HEMI has coils on each one, and then a spark plug wire. So like one coil has a boot that goes down to a spark plug, and then another wire that runs across to another cylinder, and it sparks multiple cylinders. So there's 2 spark plugs per cylinder. So this is a 16 spark plug vehicle, and yeah, these look pretty nice. These are $70, about $70 at O'Reilly, which is surprising because on Amazon it's about $70. So the fact that it's the same price is a win, I guess. And then the spark plugs, the cheapest for a set of 16 I found at O'Reilly is 16, or not O'Reilly, on Amazon it's like $70 so far. So we'll see. I'll pull these off of here real quick, and then there's no bolts, there's just kind of clips here. So there's some clips down there, so I'll pop the clips off, and then it's just, you know, plugging them in. So pretty simple. Once I pull a plug out, I'll probably get one of these over here, or one right here, and check it, and we'll see how they look. Well, they're not too bad. Well, they're bad. The gap, I think the platinum electrode is gone, and they're pretty rounded. So the gap is supposed to be about 0.4. It's like 0.55. So let me look up O'Reilly's price, see if they got them in stock, and go spend way too much money on spark plugs for the Hemi. Well, $8 a piece. It's like 130 bucks of spark plugs. Man, getting expensive. Yeah. All right, I'm just gonna start taking the spark plugs out. I've got some dielectric grease, so as I take the little coils out, I will also replace their boots, and then got freshened up some anti-seize, so I'll anti-seize all the threads, and I'll put it back together. All right, we'll come back when we're done. This will be a quick one. Like I said, it's pretty easy. These are all actually not too hard to get to once all this stuff is off here, so looks like it's pretty easy to get to everything. So we'll just maybe I'll run, yeah. I'll look at running the wires first, so then I can just put them back on as I go, so that I know I don't cross any up. I think most of them I'm good with, but there's a few that I'm concerned that I'll cross up. So yeah, should be good. Let's do it. Even though they are numbered, I just want to make sure I don't cross anything. Shouldn't be too hard, but you know, it is what it is. Yeah, and these are the Champion double platinums. No particular reason that I didn't get the regular platinums, but the one particular reason is that these were the only ones they had in stock, where they had enough of them. So apparently these Champion double platinums are what they stock in a large amount because of this engine right here. So back at it. As easy as they look like they are to get to, they kind of are, but they're not. And the one on the rear, I think that's cylinder number 8, it cracked, and that it cracked pulling the spark plug boot off. So I think it's fine. I think it's just the plastic exterior. So I'm gonna move it up here to number 1 so that I can actually get to it. So I'm gonna swap them because they look universal. But yeah, these are the tools that I used. The two rear are probably the hardest to get to. This wobble, so they're all 10mm bolts. So the wobble to the swivel to the 10 is the easiest way to get to the inside bolt on this side, and then the back side bolt on both sides of the two in the rear, and the front one, a ratcheting wrench. You can get just in there in the just kind of on the side there, and it actually comes out pretty easy. So if you can get along the back here, you can get this ratcheting wrench on there pretty easy. Most of the others along this side, I just used a deep well 10mm. The inside one on the rear, there's almost no space back there, so I had to use a 1/4 inch drive with a shallow 10mm, and then I had to take the 10mm from the 3/8, put on there, and then twist it off by finger to get it out. So that one was pretty tough to get to. And then the extension here with the shallow is the best to get along this EGR pipe. This EGR pipe's just kind of in the way, but not too bad. And I think this one up here I used the wrench on. So they're all loose. It didn't take too long. Like I said, you just need a plethora of tool options, you know, to get to them. If you don't have some of these, it's going to take you a bit longer to do this job. But they're loose. I'm going to pull them off. Like I said, I'll swap all these out, swap these two, so this one can be easily accessed if it is bad. And then I've got the dielectric grease that I'll put in the end of each spark plug boot and boot for these. And I'll just bolt it back together. But yeah, here's my haul of spark plugs. Got this is copper NICs because that's what they carry now. And yeah, it's all going to be lubed up and dielectric greased up. And it's a 5/8 inch spark plug socket, so this is a little bit longer. I've got it shorter, and who knows, maybe I'll have to go to this wobble to get them out. If it's anything more than just you know, the 3-inch extension here and the 6-inch extension, I'll definitely let you know. But I think I can get it all with 3-inch, 6-inch, and maybe just this wobble. Just jumping back in here to tell you that the brake booster is not your friend on this side. The second and third from the back, the tool hits the brake booster. So especially the third one from the back, you have to put it in two pieces just to get it down in there and then take it out. So if you're using a nicer ratchet like this one, you want to switch to one that maybe has a push button or is a little looser, because you can't get the ratchet and the extension and the socket in there at the same time. So as you're pulling up, you got to hold them and pull them out. So this is actually pretty tough. This was tough to get apart in itself. So having tools that can come apart a little easier will help you back here. But again, it's all about the tools. So I did have to go to a shorter spark plug socket because of those two back there. I can go back to this one for all the rest, but yeah, I went through. I did the first two, but I went through and all the rest I loosened with the spark plug angled ratchet, and now I'll go through and I'll just buzz them out with the ratchet. So, but again, those 3, 4 in the back are pretty tough to maneuver. So yeah, back to it. I did just avert a crisis. I'll talk about these in a second, but I actually have a new set of spark plug sockets ordered. They should be in the mail this weekend, arrive I think today. But all of my spark plug sockets, I think there's only one. They're all, I've used them quite a bit and they're pretty worn out, so they don't grip the spark plug anymore. So one of the things is to just I loosen them all up. I broke them free with the ratchet and then loosen them up with this guy. Obviously, you know, you had to play Legos with all the little pieces to make sure. But as I went to, I'd already pulled one of these out, and I forgot the one that I pulled out. I went to reach my magnet down to grab it and pull it out. And as I reached down further, because I didn't feel it hit the end, my magnet slipped out of my fingers and went down into the cylinder. Luckily that cylinder's not at the bottom of its stroke. I had to go and buy another magnet because I only have one, and I was able to retrieve my magnet with a magnet. Thankfully, you know, just like that. So yeah, that was scary, and it cost me about 25 minutes, but here I am back at it. I'm beginning to think that these three, and those are the three that are toughest to get to because of the brake. The one in the back, you can actually feed the spark plug socket and extension back up and then down. These other ones are a little tougher. I'm beginning to think I skipped those last time. That's possible, because here is the ones that aren't those three, and here are those three. So yeah, maybe I did. All right, well, no, let me put those in. These front two are in. I'll do the rest, and then I move on to this side. All right, so far, passenger side, much easier, even though it looks like it's harder to get to with this EGR tube. Just one length, I think that's a 3-inch or the 4-inch extension, and the one length socket, spark plug socket's been perfect. You know, it had the battery wire here, it had to actually like come down and then feed it up and then go in. And then back there, but otherwise the same one. I was able to get the socket in there and break them all free. So now I'm just going to get the ratchet, pull them out, and then just knock the rest of these out. Should be pretty quick. Well, they are all back together. Again, this side wasn't too bad. You know, really getting the coils back on actually wasn't too bad either. So as long as you got, you know, some wobble and the joint there, the U-joint there, and the regular wobble, and some other slip head ratchets and stuff, you're good. 1/4 inch was the second one. This 1/4 inch got on it good, and then the ratcheting wrench that I've got up here, had to get a couple of those in the back. But here's the spark plugs. These two are a little corroded, but not as bad as the other ones. So at least it looks like, you know, and they don't have the, you know, they're not as clean with. Clearly, when I did these, I did never see these. These were like the second one back there. I don't know why I wouldn't have done these two if I did them. But yeah, they're not You know, they're not looking 20 years old like the sets over there. So yeah, and put these plug wires on and put this plastic back on this thing and see how it runs. So I made it. I'm actually back on the boat. So I just drove 300, a little over 300 miles in that Durango, and it did great. So I would say the jury's still out just a little bit, and I don't know if you can see Durango's over my shoulder there, parked at the end of the dock, beginning of the dock, start of the dock, front of the dock. It's parked at the dock, but it made it. Obviously, some of the driving around here might be a good test for it, but yeah, getting around 80 miles an hour and getting used to the new fuel mileage, it just felt different with the new plugs, especially the plugs. You saw them, they're pretty bad. The new wires and that new crankshaft sensor, I think, was a big part of it. So far so good. I guess time will tell. So thanks guys, like and subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one.